everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 21. In this episode, I speak with my longtime friend, KG. KG and I, we grew up together, we played basketball together, we hung out in college together, we've lived in Las Vegas together, we've had a lot of good times together, and it was a true treat to have him come on the podcast. We always have a good conversation, and, we talked about a variety of things, definitely things growing up, things going on now, and he's a great friend, and I'm very grateful to know him. And the book of the episode is going to be Jay Williams' Life is Not an Accident, a memoir of reinvention. I picked this book for a couple of reasons. The first reason, because KG and I played basketball for so many years together. Jay Williams was a phenomenal college basketball player and NBA player, and he had a very serious accident. And me going through an accident and injury this past year, I read his book, and it's very inspirational, very motivational, very honest. And I really respect him for writing this. And, he's really turned a tragedy into, used it as fuel and inspiration. Now he's a very successful sports broadcaster at ESPN. So I really highly recommend it. If you're looking for a really good inspirational story, Jay Williams, Life is Not an Accident, a memoir of reinvention. And with that being said, here's my conversation with KG.
KG, welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
Thanks, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. It's a pleasure to have you in this environment here. I think this has been long overdue.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the show. I've enjoyed the last couple ones with Tyler and Schmitty. So,
well, and you too, being along that camp of being someone that I've now known for, since sixth grade, virtually, I believe. So
yeah, like
22 years here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, you're one of my oldest friends, man. That's really valuable to me. So, like, yeah, summer after sixth grade, when I moved to Canton, we probably started hooping together.
Man, that first year, seventh grade basketball.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude, we were good, man.
Shout out to Coach Bob Bennett.
Coach Bennett, yeah. Coach Walters in eighth grade for sure. Still remember Coach Bennett told one of our teammates to ask Santa Claus for a pair of hands for Christmas because he couldn't catch the ball. Huh?
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Oh yeah, yeah. Playing in the state tournament, getting close to next year. That's a whole nother story, though.
Well, and like people that I'm sure you two have met later in your life, whether in college or beyond that, Vegas, wherever. When I tell people basketball was my life, like I don't know if they understand. And same for you too. I mean, all of us, basketball was literally our life. Like that's all I cared about pretty much through my mid-college years was hoops. And I played a lot of hoops with you, my friend, a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you talked about with Schmitty, like playing at the Y. Like I was right there all those days. But yeah, man, I played a lot of basketball for sure, but you were even on another level in terms of playing all the time and, bringing your basketball to school, and you had to be the first one to make a hoop at recess.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then it got to be like people would start to mess with you and they try to block you and stuff like that.
Dude, the older guys in high school would take my ball and like throw it in lockers or punt it across the football field or whatever. I guess I kind of had it coming in a way. Like I kind of was just advertising, watch me take my basketball everywhere. And part of me now in retrospect, it's like, you know what? I really didn't need to take it all the places I did. It was just more of like a commitment thing, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's something you like to do. So
yeah,
there wasn't really anything wrong with that.
And it was a unique, it was interesting because when we were into hoops, man, like I'm curious to what it might have been like if there was Instagram and stuff back then. But back then, man, we had something called Slam Magazine.
Oh, yeah.
that we would
Man,
get.
slam. See, I think it's still around.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. And I saved some of my old ones. Like I had my mom stash them away, and I said, "Do not get rid of these." But yeah, I mean, dude, Slam magazine, like, and that's what's crazy about like LeBron and a couple of these other guys. Like, we've been following LeBron since he's been a sophomore in high school, since we've been in like 7th grade. So like almost over half of our lives, like through Slam magazine, like the punk section for the high school players.
Yep.
LeBron had a diary.
Yep.
At the very end. And then, like what was it, Slam Ups or whatever, you had to figure out which side you were going to put on.
Oh, yeah.
Gave you a double-sided poster. You had to figure out which one you were going to put up.
In my room currently, I believe this is still true. I have those posters hanging all over, 3-on-3 tournament stuff, like all different types of stuff in plastic, hanging in my room. I believe there is still hanging the LeBron James Sebastian Telfair Slam cover.
Oh yeah, I think that's one of the ones I think I saved, where they got like the retro NBA All-Star jersey on.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, dude, you remember remember the Peoria League we played in? I just now remembered that. I forgot all about it. With the Farmington boys. It was like a Peoria Y League we played.
I don't know. I might have been a part of that. I'm not sure if I was, though.
Thought you were. Definitely, we played a lot of summer league. We played summer league.
Yeah, because that was when we were in like college and stuff, right?
Not the Peoria. The Peoria one, I believe we were still in. It was like a spring league. It was something like a random 8-week after the season thing we played in.
The one I think you're talking about, I don't think I played in.
Oh, okay.
But I remember you guys going over there and talking about it, and I mean that was a good league. There was a lot of good local dudes. I mean, dude, that like the amount of hoops that we saw. I mean, that's another topic we could talk about. The amount of high school basketball players we saw was incredible. I mean, we could go up and down the list, like Sean Livingston, Eddie Curry,
Andre Iguodala,
all Richard McBride.
They were all at that Pekin tournament that year. I think it was our freshman year of high school. We were there.
John Shire, who's about to be the Duke coach, one of the leading scorers in Illinois history. A whole bunch of dudes. I mean, me, you, and Foos sitting courtside at the Pekin tournament, the holiday tournament, watching McBride and Iguodala come out and touch the top of the square in the layup line. Like, I still remember stuff like that.
I remember watching Iguodala in particular. Well, I mean, all of them, just all of them, where they were all incredible. But like Iguodala, you're just like, how is this dude not going to go to the NBA? Him. I think that's why it's so cool that him and Livingston not only got 3 championships, but got them together on the same team, both representing Central Illinois. I thought that was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you knew Iguodala was going to the league. I mean, I think he committed to Arkansas, and then he went to Arizona for a year or two, maybe 3 years. But, yeah, we saw a lot of good. And just a whole bunch of dudes that, maybe didn't get to the league or were really good college players or whatever.
Yeah, Illinois basketball is no joke, man. I mean, I don't follow it now in terms of like the scene, but I know Illinois probably would always be. I think you would probably always have to put them in that top 5 of talent in the country. Probably California, Illinois, New York, Florida, Texas, probably all the big population states, I guess. But
yeah, I'd say so. Chicago, Peoria. There's been. East St. Louis has had really good teams.
I'm not going to lie. I actually have dreams sometimes that we're back at Canton playing in Alice Ingersoll Gym, and I'm actually playing.
Well, I'd I'd pay money to play at Alice right now. Not like a game, but just shoot
Right.
around, shoot free throws for an hour.
What
What
a
a great
cool,
place.
yeah, what a unique high school gym to play at. That was
We
so
got to
fun.
play in a 1920s bomb shelter for our high school basketball games.
Wait, was that supposed to be a bomb shelter?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
From like the war, yeah. Pretty sure.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
At the very least, it's super old. But I'm pretty sure it was used for something like that.
Yeah. Huh. I guess that would make sense.
Right.
Yeah, and you actually did a little coaching yourself, didn't you, at one point? Didn't you do a little basketball coaching?
Yeah. Yeah. Did some freshman basketball and coached at, YMCAs and rec centers and stuff like that. So
What's that like to be on the other side of it as a coach?
still competitive, but you you just can't do as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously not professional or anything and stuff like that. But, my dad taught me if you're keeping score, you're trying to win. So
that makes sense.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I'm not going out there to lose, even if it's just for fun or, just a rec league or whatever. It's more fun for the kids, like when they win and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a fine line, but I enjoy it for the most part. It's the parents a lot of times that get kind of crazy. And, I coached this league earlier this fall. And, I mean, you would have thought it was like a high school basketball game. Like the people were yelling and screaming and just – it was nuts, man. It was nuts.
Well, I'm sure you and I both, we have these random memories, like especially, I don't know, like obviously in like the school games, like during the actual season, but the summer leagues like AYB and all that, I can remember countless like coaches just going ballistic, screaming and going crazy. Now I kind of look back at it all, at what age I was back then. And what all of us kids were. Like you just have these adults flipping the heck out. I mean, I guess it's competition, but it's kind of just interesting to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens.
Vegas getting a basketball team? NBA?
Within 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah. Baseball too. That's my prediction. You heard it here first. Baseball and basketball. NBA basketball. We already have the Las Vegas Aces. WNBA. So NBA and Major League Baseball by 2028.
Well, I heard the A's are coming, aren't they? Or is that official, or is that just talk still?
It's not official yet. They're still talking about it, back and forth. It's wild. All these teams are owned by billionaires, and they play these cities against each other to try to get the most public money. And I think that's what's going on now. The A's are flirting with Las Vegas because they want, the wherever the county of Oakland is, not Oakland County, I don't think, Alameda County or something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
To see who can throw them the most public money to build a stadium. And it happens all the time. Same thing happened with the Raiders. Vegas said, we'll throw you I think it was like $750 million.
Didn't that turn into $2 billion, that stadium?
Well, it costs over $2 billion, and it never works out for the public. They never get it back in economic gains. The stadiums usually cost way more than they say they're going to. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think Vegas, and we've talked about this before, I think Vegas is trying to be a sports town. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of ways, we already are. Mm-hmm. with the Raiders, with the Golden Knights. We're going to get Final Fours, with the new stadium. T-Mobile can hold, is NBA ready. MGM, I think, is building some new Sphere thing that's going to be like 20 or 25,000 people for events.
Jeez.
But yeah, they're talking about some places for the A's. I mean, they're I heard they're going to tear down the Tropicana.
What?
Yeah, they're going to tear down the Trop and maybe get some land around there. Wynn Golf Course, places out by the M. Red Rock is trying to get in on it.
I guess they want it close to the Strip.
Summerlin, I mean.
Summerlin.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we'll see.
They want that probably close to the Strip, I'm guessing. But that's
Well,
crazy. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, if you tear down the Trop, you would have 3 major stadiums within, I mean, what, a square mile?
Yeah, like literally not far from each other.
2 square miles. And I mean, I know it's done other places. There's various other examples. I mean, like Kansas City, I think the football stadium and the baseball stadium are right next to each other, and other places like that. But other places don't have the Strip, which is where all these stadiums would be, on the south end of the Strip. So, it would be very interesting because you have to consider, is it going to be locals going to the game? Is it going to be tourists? Like, what kind of mix? If it's going to be 75-25 tourists to local, like, yeah, you got to put it on the Strip. But I don't know how you figure that out.
Well, shoot, if you put it at the Trop, I'm just wondering, like, if someone hits a home run out of the park,
well, it
crashes into like an MGM window or something.
Yeah. It would have to be a dome stadium, like retractable roof, because it's too hot in the summer. And that's the other thing, a dome stadium, you're looking at $1 billion, probably $1.5 billion. So, like, where are you going to get that money? Are you going to get, is the public going to fund that? Are you going to get some private donors? Who knows? But I think it's going to happen. I think there's a better chance that we get both of those teams than not.
Well, I think you get NFL. I mean, NFL is the biggest one of all of them, right? So, I mean, if you get the NFL, that pretty much opens the floodgates to everything.
Right. And they solved the gambling problem. We can stop pretending we're, worried about gambling now.
How did they stop that problem?
Well, I mean, they were worried about putting teams in Vegas, for like throwing games and
I gotcha.
betting on the games and stuff. And that's just not, I mean, it's not necessarily the case anymore. All the leagues have partnerships with betting sites and whatnot. So, yeah.
And you've been to a Raiders game, right?
Yeah, I went to the Bears-Raiders game.
What's it like going to a game there? And what was the atmosphere?
It was cool. There was a lot of Bears fans. It was actually Gruden's last game. He got fired like the next day, the next night during Monday Night Football, I remember. Yeah, so the Bears won. Went with our buddy Dean. So
shout out to
cool.
Dean.
Fellow Bears fan, fellow Illinois native.
Fellow golf companion.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm waiting for that podcast. The 19th hole, Henderson. Tales from Wildfire.
Right.
Well, shoot, but how long have you been a Vegas local now? Now you're a decade in, right? You have to be by this point.
Over 10 years, yeah.
Over 10 years. I mean,
like August of 11-ish.
How were you thinking this is a long-term play here, especially if that baseball stadium comes, man? Because I know your team, the Cubs, are going to be rolling through.
Is it a long-term play? Yeah. I mean, it has been.
Yeah.
I was prepared to, leave fairly soon if I had to, but ended up working out.
Vegas is so many different things to so many different people. So for you, what do you like most about Vegas? You don't have to like pick the thing, but like, What are the pluses for you?
Well, I originally moved here because I had a lot of friends here,
Mm-hmm.
you guys,
Mm-hmm.
from back home, and I hated winter. I hated cold weather. I hated being cold, and I still do to this day.
Right.
Tomorrow when I drive to work, I'm going to mutter under my breath how cold it is, and it's probably going to be like 45. So that's what I like. I like the warm weather. It gets a little hot 1 or 2 months out of the year, but that's doable. And I like and I think Smitty mentioned this too,
Mm-hmm.
as far as being in Chicago. But I like and it's the same thing for me. I like the 24-hour culture, but I don't participate in it at all. Like I'm in bed by 10 o'clock at the latest, almost every night.
Yeah.
But I like it as an option, and it's fun to do every once in a while. I had a college friend in town a couple weeks ago, and we did the whole, get a room on the strip, head out, that sort of thing, which is fun to do every once in a while. But at our age, that can't be done very often anymore.
So turning the clock back, that's a perfect segue. If I were to repeat things I was doing 10 years ago, I get me to the hospital immediately. Like, there's no
well,
way.
The thing is, we talked. I didn't feel well after a couple days after my friend left, and I realized it was because I went hard for like 3 days. In terms of just being out and about a whole lot. Doing more than I usually do on a weekend. We'll just leave it at that. So, didn't get enough sleep, that sort of thing. And
at this age, it'll catch you quick.
And at this age, dude, you just can't be out there like that anymore, or else you pay the price.
An era of my life and yours that we experienced together. And you see, we'll just call this, when we used to socialize a lot through maybe the partying mechanism. I remember when basketball was done for me, and then I went to Western Illinois University my junior year. You were at your college in Jacksonville.
Oh my.
You'd come to Macomb. I'd go to Jacksonville. I only went to Jacksonville a couple of times, but that was a very strong couple of times.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and we had so many good times, man. It was so much fun. And then, I head out west to Tucson. You actually came to my 23rd birthday party in Tucson at that house, if you remember.
I remember the house.
You were there for that. Yeah, it was my birthday. You were there.
I think I went to that house a couple times, actually.
Maybe you did. Yeah.
I don't remember that birthday party specifically, but
neither do I.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. We were what, 23?
Yep.
So that would have been a lot of donuts,
fast food, and
probably some fast food, snack wraps from McDonald's, I think.
Just terrible things just awful. And then
that may have been Mitch and I's very short-lived brandy phase.
Oh.
Maybe not. Yeah, it makes me shudder to think too. I shouldn't have even brought it up.
Well, it's fitting because I'm getting to, then Mitch and I moved to Vegas, and then the Rat Pack house came into the picture. Then you came out at bunch of people came out. I mean, shout out to the original Rat Pack house, myself, Mitch, you, Moa, Devontae, my brother, who had all lived in that thing at one point in time.
Right.
I look back at that time, that era, and look, we all know not everything's going to last forever, right? It wasn't sustainable. But for that maybe year or however long it was, like couple of years span, I lived there for 3 years, but it was a rotating thing with all of us. But it was like some of the best times ever, man. Like, cause like that was when like Vegas social media wasn't that huge yet, so we didn't have to worry about. I film things obviously, but you didn't have to worry about other people filming you, I guess. Unless it was me. But I mean, dude, we knew people at the Cosmo. We knew people at all the clubs. We're in the prime of our party era where we still had the energy to like stay up all night and do it all the time. I mean, dude, it was like just the perfect storm, to be honest with you. Vegas magic and living there as a tourist, but actually living there, but living like a tourist every time you went down there.
Yeah. It's we hit the Cosmo hard a few times. I still remember, what was it? It was probably Halloween 2012 or 11, probably 2012. When we went to the club, and I believe it was Lil Jon that night.
Yeah,
and everybody was in their costumes. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's fun to do some of that stuff every once in a while. But that's not. I don't like. I'm a big introvert, So, I hate to keep mentioning stuff that these other guys talked about, but I just checked out the podcast. But like, talking about getting recharged by being by yourself and being in a quiet place, and that's definitely me. So like when I go to work, I'm around a whole bunch of people all the time, and so in those like social situations too, like it takes my energy. Some people get recharged, like you may be one of those people that gets recharged a little bit more by a social scene than I do, but you still enjoy your downtime as well. But dude, in terms of you were so far ahead of the game in terms of filming everything.
I thought about
it's not even I don't even know what to say, because you were legitimately
I was Instagram stories before Instagram stories.
you were doing what people make millions of dollars doing today. You were doing that in 2006, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
Filming everything, chopping it up, putting it on, YouTube videos, just filming like, everything. So it's kind of crazy to think about. Like, what was that? The flip cam. I mean, dude, that thing was everywhere.
And that's before, not many people had iPhones back then. If they did, they weren't really like going around filming.
No, you were so far ahead of the game that I don't think people were ready. Because that's what is making people famous nowadays, filming their entire lives and putting it online.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. There's a lot you said I want to unpack there. In terms of that, I actually thought about that. They're like, man, there's been more than a couple of things I've been involved in that it just, maybe I should have just kept going with it, or maybe whatever, but it just wasn't the right timing. And then all of a sudden, like 5 years, 6 years later, it's like, oh, that's exactly what I was doing back then. Or this.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to mention. Like, I actually think it's the opposite. Like you do things and you don't necessarily like let people influence that decision or whatever.
Mm.
You know, and that's going way back in terms of like the basketball stuff.
Mm.
You know, whatever it is, like you've never, you know, really wavered on like something that you have wanted to do, whether it's like the acting or
Mm.
moving to LA or you know, other professions that we, that we won't.
There'll be guests to talk about that on the podcast someday, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be ready one day for that. But you know what I'm saying? Like you go for something and that's what you're trying to do.
Mm.
You know, now it's podcasting and getting into some things like that. And so,
yeah,
you know, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man, and I appreciate you sharing about, because it's so funny. I literally went on a walk with a friend today, and we had this exact same conversation about alone time and the value of it. Because I am too, and you're right. Like, there's been times where the social scene, I mean, it just fueled. 10 years ago, throw me in with everybody all night long. Then as it's progressed, and I'll just go pre-pandemic, pre-injury. Yeah, I liked going out to acting events and stuff like that. But then I'd hit a limit. I'd hit it like this internal clock that's like, okay, time to go home. Too much. But now, pandemic, and you know, I'm still recovering from the injury and everything. Now it's like, oh God, like I'd go hang out with a few people for a little bit, but I have no desire to be like in a massive environment right now. I really value my alone time, coming home, and just doing things I like to do. And you and I have had this talk, you know, because we're both mid-30s now, which is crazy to even say, but it's like, the older you get, the more you realize what you like and what you don't like. And you've always come up, you're a guy who knows what he likes. You know what I mean? Like, you'll go on trips, you'll go to different sports arenas and stuff like that, and all the different types of things. So, I mean, I think that's good, man, that you know what you like, man, and can live a happy life, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you get older. You figure out what you want to do and what you want to spend your time doing, and you cut out the rest of it. You know, you talked on a few podcasts about like cutting out news. I've done that. I got rid of my Twitter. I'll check a news website every once in a while, you know, but that's about it. And it's good. I've actually lost track of some things that are happening and stuff like that, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, it's just me, you know. I don't have any children. I don't have a significant other, so I get to do pretty much what I like to do. Whether that's going to a sporting event, you know, I'm trying to get to all 30 baseball stadiums in America. I'm about 2/3 of the way there.
Wow.
What's
your favorite one?
Wrigley Field.
Besides Wrigley Field, obviously.
Come on, man.
For those watching, this man is he even had the Cubs flag next to
you.
you.
Hey, let me, hey. Yeah, you see that W flag right there. Yeah. Cubs all day, man. A little rough stretch right now, but it's all right.
Really quick, I do want to hear more about the stadiums.
But other good stadiums. Sorry, let me get to that before you go. I'll just rattle off a few. San Diego, San Francisco, Pittsburgh is really beautiful. Those are the ones I like.
Okay. Eventually the Vegas one, whenever that comes.
Oh yeah. It's coming, man. I feel it.
I was in Boulder City with an individual having, I believe it was a pizza place there, some type of wood fire, whatever it was. And the Cubs game, wasn't it Game 7 when they won the World Series? Was it a Game 7? And wasn't it like crazy extra overtime innings, if I remember correctly?
Oh yeah, I mean the Cubs they gave up the lead in what was it, the top of the eighth, or no, the bottom of the eighth inning, and then it went into extra innings. There was a rain delay. Um, Cubs ended up scoring a couple runs in the top of the 10th, I think, and then the Indians scored a run in the bottom of the 10th. Had a couple chances to win it, but Cubs held on, man.
And I remember, like, honestly, I mean, it's not that I guess you could say I didn't care, like, because I'm not a huge Cubs fan, but it's like when they won, I told the person I was with, I'm like, you know why this is so cool? Even though I'm from Illinois, I don't care about that. It's like, this is for all the people I know, you being one of the biggest ones, that have been a diehard Cubs fan through the worst of it. Like sticking by your team when they were awful, 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 not a prayer in sight, and now you guys just won the pennant.
Oh man, yeah, it was just so great. It's like it's easy to root for the Yankees or the Cardinals if you're from our area.
Mm-hmm.
They win a lot. Um, Pick any other really successful team. Well, the Cubs are just they're not very successful. They never have been. They're historically bad. Not just in baseball, but across all sports. And so to finally get that payoff, especially after they were down 3-1 in the World Series. So they had to win 3 games in a row. I couldn't get enough of it. I mean, I think I was at the game that they clinched at Wrigley Field to go to the World Series.
Oh yeah, you did go out.
And it was just incredible. Like I think it's safe to say the best day of my life.
Wow.
And not just that, but like my whole family was up in Chicago, at my grandmother's house. And then she passed, a few months afterwards around Thanksgiving of that year. And she was a Cubs fan, so
she got to see it. She got to see him win.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. So, it just means a lot. And, people say, well, it's just sports, whatever. But I mean, if you go look at some of those interviews and things like that, I mean, it's literally generations of people that had never seen a championship, never been close to a championship. And it was so cool, man. It was just so cool. I love baseball. The Cubs are my team, and I've always said it. If they don't win another one, I'll be fine. I won't necessarily be really happy about it, and I'll complain still. But people say, oh, you have a lifetime of memories from something. Well, that like 2-week stretch from when I saw that, and I actually saw another game in that series too, which was equally as incredible. When Miguel Montero hit a grand slam, if you're a baseball fan, anyone that's listening. Anyways, the lifetime of memories from that 3-week stretch, basically.
Mm. Yeah, and I guess when you think about with sports, a lot of times it's not just the actual game or the sport; it's what comes all around it. Especially if your family or lots of friends are involved, it's the camaraderie, the parties, the talk about it. It really is a huge part of our culture. Now that I think,
yeah, and that's one of my contradictions, I guess, is I just told you earlier, like 10 minutes ago, that I get recharged by being home by myself. Well, what's one of my favorite activities to do? Be in a crowd full of people at a sporting event. So I don't know what that says about me, but I love it. I love the roar of the crowd. I even enjoy being in another team stadium. I've been to more Cardinal games in Busch Stadium than most Cardinal fans. And I enjoy that a lot. Even though I hate the Cardinals, I enjoy going to games at Busch Stadium because it's a cool atmosphere, So yeah, I love it. I mean, I think I went to 4 or 5 baseball games this summer in like 3 different cities. So
You've been to Dodger Stadium, right?
Yeah, several times.
Several.
Yeah.
What about the Phoenix one, the Diamondbacks?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been to everyone west of Kansas City except for like Seattle. Seattle and Texas I don't have yet. I haven't been to the East Coast.
So not the Marlins, Miami, the Marlins.
Well, yeah, I've been to Miami and Tampa.
Oh yeah, Tampa.
I haven't been to Boston. I haven't been to New York, Philly, Toronto, Cleveland, Detroit. There's only a few other ones like Texas. The couple ones in Texas I haven't been to.
Do you take like a collector's item from each stadium, or like hold on to the ticket stubs, or?
Not really. I tried to collect all my ticket stubs, and I do have a lot of them, which I just made into a scrapbook last year. But I mean, nowadays most of it's like on your phone, so you don't even get an actual ticket. It kind of sucks. You got to ask for like a printout of, your ticket or whatever. It's kind of dumb, but.
I wanted to mention this experience, and you remind me, and I'm sure there's somewhere. I wouldn't be able, they're gone now, but I know ticket stub I did hold on to for the longest time was the Watch the Throne tour. You and I went to this day, one of my favorite, not just a Vegas memory, but just, it was an incredible night that I will never forget. And it's not that I can remember all of it. It's just I know how epic it was. And for people listening, the Watch the Throne tour was Jay-Z, Kanye West's album, Watch the Throne. Sold out at MGM. I was at work and some guy came in and said, "Hey man, do you like Jay-Z?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "I got 2 tickets. They're like $200 a piece." And maybe I had done well at a video poker slot recently because I somehow had the extra money.
That was incredible, man.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I mean, I didn't even bat an eye when you asked me if I wanted one. And at the time, I didn't really have a full-time job. The work that I was doing, I think I was making about $100 a day. So this was like 2 days worth of work. And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even hesitate. And it was worth every penny. I mean, those 2 guys were huge 8 years ago.
Shit, this has been 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it was either 11 or 12, I think. Maybe 13. 11, 12, or 13, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was awesome, man. It was a great show.
When we were walking, we parked over at the I believe it was the Luxor, because parking was so hard to find over there. Because that's how big it was. It was almost like a huge boxing match. Almost, it was that many people, and in the streets, you could hear the windows down. Doo doo, doo doo, doo doo, doo doo. Ball so hard, and it was everywhere. We get to it. It's such a freaking ridiculous show they put on. Right. And then when they get to the Paris song, they don't play it once. They don't play it twice. No, folks, they didn't play it 3. They played it 7 times in a row.
Yep.
And we were there for that. And that was insane, man. That was insane. It was such a fun experience.
Oh, yeah. I've seen my fair share of concerts here since I've lived here, but I mean, that was probably one of the better ones for sure. Yeah, that was wild.
That was wild. And
I remember the guys in front of me, let's just say they were going super hard. They had a bag of supplies that they brought with them. So,
and I'm sure they weren't the only ones.
they were not the only ones.
And I did have the flip cam, and we did make a video about that, which you can still find. I won't tell people where, but you can still find.
Yeah, there's a little bit of SJD TV still out there on YouTube.
Oh, it's up. The channel's up. Like, it's up there.
Yeah.
But I honestly go through it once in a while. I really do, and I just go back.
I do too. I
it's fun to look at. It's just fun.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing before we're getting almost an hour here.
What else did we have on the list? I forgot, dude. I totally forgot.
Coin collecting.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You are a coin collector, and not just you really collect coins. And I've been to your place. No, you collect coins.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
You're a legit coin collector. How did you get into that? And tell me about it.
Well, I think it probably started with both of my grandfathers. My grandfather on my mom's side, he would give me coins and stuff, and he collected coins. And he gave me like a big bag of foreign coins, I remember, when I was a kid, which I still have to this day. And then also my grandfather on my dad's side, we would go to like the town where they lived. They had a thing called the Turkey Festival. They'd have turkey sandwiches and amusement park and whatever. And, we'd go look for loose change that people dropped when they were on the rides and stuff like that. And like when I was a kid, we're from rural America, right? So, when I was a kid, before I moved to Canton, I lived in an even smaller town of like probably a couple thousand people.
Wow.
And like for the 4th of July up on the town square. Yeah, we had a town square, with the county capitol building in the middle. But anyways, they would throw out coins like during the parade, and I would go get those. They would have like a big pile of hay, and they would throw quarters and $50 in there, and you would go dig in the hay and find coins and stuff. So that's like how I got started. But then like probably it was like 2019 where I came across coin roll hunting, right? Like on YouTube or something. I don't remember exactly how, but it's where you go to the bank and buy rolls of coins and just open them up and look for, cool stuff. So it's crazy to think that, and I actually wrote in my journal a couple times, like I started off with like a couple rolls of pennies, a few rolls of nickels, and like a roll of quarters. And it was like maybe $10 or $20 total. And now every week I buy 4 boxes of $50 that cost $2,000.
How often do you do that?
Every week.
Wait. Every week you spend $2,000 on coins?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
But I get all of it back, Sam.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, dude, I don't got that kind of money. Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah. So what's the oldest coin you've ever found out of all these coins that you've gotten?
Well, I had cause see what I do is like, all right, so I get like $2,000 worth of half dollars. Mm-hmm. And then I take all of them back to the bank, and I just get the money back. So if I find 0 coins that I want to keep, I still have my same $2,000. So it's not like I just run the same $2,000 every week. You know, but the oldest coin I found, I used to have, there was a lady that worked at one of the banks where I deposited my coins, and she would keep all the foreign coins and stuff from the machine. And I got a Spanish coin from like 1870, I think. It's silver, so it's probably worth a few bucks.
Do you have do you go to the same place every time? Like, do they know you? Like, there's the coin guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get the coins from the same branch every week, except they haven't had them the last couple of weeks, which is a little frustrating, but that's all right.
And also, you've been known to save quite a bit of change. I definitely, I looked at one thing you had filled one time. I'm like, how long you been saving that for? There's a lot of coin.
Man. Yeah, I pick up, like, I'm really about it, dude. Like, it's one of my.
Yeah, it's no joke.
It's like, I don't have a lot of passions, I don't think, but coins is probably one of them. Like, I'll pick up money off the ground. Like, I don't have any shame about that. One of the other things I do is I check all the coin stars that I go to, in the stores that I go to. I mean, like earlier today at the grocery store, I found almost $1 and change in the Coinstar reject tray.
Huh.
It's free money. And I found silver coins in there too. So
shoot, that Coinstar's helped me out on more than one occasion.
But anyways, to your point, yes, I save all my change. I don't just throw it away. I don't round up at these places that are now asking you if you want to round up for some donation. Like, no, I don't. No, I don't want to.
No, you give me my 3 pennies now.
even if it's not physical change. Like, no, I don't want to donate to some charity. Like, it's not that I'm against that, but I don't want to donate to the charity that's at like the Panda Express drive-through. I do other stuff throughout the year, but anyways, when I filled up my jug the last time, I had almost $1,900, and so I bought a new couch and a new love seat
with change.
Yeah, it took me like 5 years, I think. It wasn't even that long, really.
Dang, man. Hear that, folks? Don't throw that change away. You can get cool stuff. Yeah, there's some people, like change doesn't mean anything, but I think there's the coins, but the Coinstar takes the rate because the bank doesn't take a percentage, right? When you cash it in at the bank? Well,
yeah, see, Coinstar is at either 11.9 or 12.9, I want to say, but it's ridiculous. So, for me, the Coinstar wouldn't be an option. If they charged even 10%, I'm not going to give $200 every week to the Coinstar. That's ridiculous. That's not even an option.
Yeah.
So luckily I have and I'm not going to name the bank because I don't want to give away this this perk, but they got a 0% fee coin return machine at this branch that I have my car loan at, or this bank that I have my car loan at out here. So as a member, I can use it for free. I just deposit it, then I go right to the teller and I withdraw it. So and then I roll up the other ones. So I just roll those up and take them back to Wells Fargo.
It's a good service.
Yeah, I actually I can't believe they have these machines. They don't make any money off of it, like none, because if you can use it if you're not a member, but it charges you a fee. But I don't know why you would do that. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, you've made me. Yeah, I'm going to be more conscientious. I got some change. Got a little bit right here, actually. Got a long way to go before I hit 1,900.
Yeah, but it's just it's like
I don't use that much cash anymore now that I think about it. I always use cards so many times, you know?
Well, it's kind of slowed down for me because I cashed that in a couple years ago. This was pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But I use my credit card for, 95% of transactions now that I'm able to. So,
Is there a coin convention in Vegas? There has to be. There has to be coin conventions that come to Vegas.
oh yeah, there certainly is, and I've been aware of a lot of them, but I mean, it's just probably a bunch of old guys, and I don't know. I like doing what I do, man. If I could do it all day or for a job, I would love to ramp it up even more. But I don't have the time to take them all back. That's really the only thing that I'm constrained by. I would love to get, 20 boxes a week. But I don't have that much time to take all those coins back.
Yeah, you're going to need an assistant.
Yeah, I mean, if I had someone to help me, I could, but because you don't want to take too many back to the same branch because it's kind of a hassle for them to deal with. But it is a service they offer, and I have a decent amount of money with them, so they should be able to do it.
Now, one last thing on the coin thing, like besides like trying to find like a rare coin, like I think when I've been over at your place, you have like different, I don't know what to call it. It's like, I don't know if it's like trying to get all the years in a row or what it is, like things like little slots you put them in.
Yeah, I have those for pennies.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with pennies. I would get a box of pennies for $25, and I would search for like wheat pennies and Indian head pennies and stuff like that. So you can get like books where you try to fill in every date and things like that. But now I just look for silver $50. That's really the only thing that I look for. So
that's where it's at, huh?
Yeah, for now. That's what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Had some pretty good luck. So
yeah, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and chat. And there's 10,000 other topics we could talk about. I do want to say one quick thing, what you said about, just because this has been a constant thing circulating with people I talk with. It is fascinating. And when I say this, I'm not ignoring issues of the world, and I'm not saying certain things don't need addressed. But it is amazing when you turn off the news, how much of it really goes away and how much of your life you get back to. You're like, oh, everything's cool. Like, it's not to say there's not problems or things going on in some things, but I didn't realize just how much of my mind space that filled and changed perception of the world, if that makes sense.
Well, you're absolutely right. And especially for me, like, I'll admit I was guilty, getting a little caught up in the let's just say the political scene during the previous administration, if you will. And it just didn't do any good. I would be upset, sitting there on Twitter or, checking in on a cable news, channel every once in a while. And it didn't do any good. It didn't accomplish anything to keep up with the day-to-day, what's going on in the Senate. What did this guy say? What did this lady say? Somebody posted this tweet, blah, 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 whatever. And so, yeah, I definitely think it's helped, especially like with what we're doing with our lives. We don't need to be aware of everything like that. It's important to be engaged, I guess. But if you want to help out, and I listened to a podcast or a book or something, and it's like, if you want to be involved in politics, you're not going to like watch shows, and like, you actually need to do things, go run for a board, or, your school board, that's a whole nother issue nowadays, or, run for mayor of your town, or, put together a group and try to make a change. But like, you tweeting about something or posting on Facebook is not actually doing anything. You're not raising awareness. You're not actually doing anything. You have to get out on the ground and, get off of the phone and the computer and the tablet and go actually do something. So I know this is a lot at once, but it's been a positive, and I think more people should do it. Obviously stay involved with the things that are necessary for you to be aware of. But, it's like a lot of the stuff is just not necessary. And social media is gonna, I'm not gonna say be the downfall of America, because that's very that's very hyperbolic, but it may not be that far off. And we were lucky because we grew up without it. We got into it in college with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatnot, but we've kind of seen both sides, so it's been interesting.
That was very well said, man. And you're definitely right. That's one thing I think that my eyes have been open to is the what's the word? Local elections, like the locally run stuff. That's really how things can really get done and changed. And when they say it starts at the local level, like I'm like, okay, now I see it. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a lot of stuff done locally. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and that's your community too, right? I mean, that's going to be the community you live in.
Absolutely. I mean, like if you're out here in Vegas, you want to, if you're going to vote for this stuff and be involved in it, check out your alderman races, check out, councilman or councilwoman or county commissioner or whatever, because that's where the stuff's going to get done. I mean, yeah, president's important, who you vote for your Senate is important, but a lot of the local races that people overlook, judges, some really shitty judges can get elected.
District attorneys.
Yeah, district attorneys, I mean, there's a lot of things you can vote for that don't get a lot of attention. So,
and honestly, not to go either way with it, but these times, especially city councils and things like that, with the pandemic, we've seen how governments operate and how certain people are going to act in certain situations. Now, certain people that never considered who their mayor was now care about who their mayor is. So if there is some silver lining in terms of the political process, I think a lot more people now are like, okay, for whatever reason, however you view things, are like, okay, I need to pay attention to who we're putting into these positions. Because when everything's good, it's all good, right? But when things don't become good, these are the people that are going to be making decisions for your community.
Well, that's well said. And, having said what I just said, I mean, did I even look at or vote for any of those other races in 2020? No. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm sitting here and say, yeah, that's what you should do. But like, I mean, I didn't do that. I probably voted for president, and, I don't think we had any Senate races, but I mean, it's tough, and I don't think political involvement in terms of like voting, well, I guess that's not true, because we just had a record turnout.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't see more people like wanting to choose to become involved in politics, like more, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like a lot of
A
people.
lot of people voted. I mean, I think Biden and Trump both set records.
Oh yeah, both
Last,
of them. It was like I believe. Don't quote me on this. I think it was the most votes in history, top two. It had to have been. I think
I believe that's correct.
it was
I
like
believe that.
80 million to like 72 million, which is dude,
Yeah.
that's a
So
lot. That's a lot.
so the turnout was pretty high, but yeah, that's we could do whole podcasts on some of these things.
Well, and the one thing I want to pull out of all that too that you said was you are exactly right, and I'm glad you said that. That's pretty eye-opening. Being on your Instagram all day and look, I'm not saying that awareness can't be used on these platforms within reason, but man, when you're just, I get on there now and it's just on both sides of the fence. It's just all day. That's all they post, and I don't even know if they even know what they're posting. A lot of the times, they're grabbing stuff from things and just throwing it up and headlines. And I agree with you, man. It's like, look. And I take this from the book Anthony DeMello Awareness that I talk about every episode damn near, but he's like, everyone wants to go change the world. He's like, but if you want to go change the world, go change yourself first. It starts on the inside. And like you said, like go, if you do think there's an issue, you just yelling on your Facebook or your Instagram all day, that's just bad energy. And that's just it's just not good. But go out maybe into the world and then go do something about that.
Yeah,
In real time.
That's correct. I mean,
safely and positively, of course.
Yeah, and there's nothing necessarily wrong, I guess, with posting online or making your views known. People want to sit here and say, oh, virtue signaling or social justice warrior. If it's things you believe, and you want to promote that, then that's not a bad thing, I don't think. You want people to know that. Like I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but it just may not do as much as you think you're doing.
Now, when you say you got rid of your Twitter, did you just log out? You haven't been on, or you like deleted your Twitter?
No, I deleted it.
Wow. You've done what I have not had the power to do yet.
Yeah. I deleted it.
Good for you,
I'm
man.
still on Instagram, and I watch YouTube videos and stuff. But I mean, like, no, I deleted Twitter. I haven't been on Facebook in a decade either. So
wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I mean, I don't want to say like rare, but that's probably unusual nowadays.
Yeah, no, man, that's awesome. If it wasn't for me doing this podcast, I mean, I probably would. I keep saying that, but I always find a way to find something that, well, I got to be on there to promote this,
Yeah.
But it's to a point now where it's not what it was 8-10 years ago when it just wasn't as toxic as environment. It was more just a really fun thing, connecting with people type of thing. But now it's just you go in there.
It still can be.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly still can be. You can still use it correctly and for your benefit and for your gain. But it can also be detrimental to your health, your mental health, your psyche, things like that. And you have to realize that most of it's fake. Number one. I mean, it's very curated. A lot of, especially all these influencers and models and, whatnot. Yeah. Quote unquote. I mean, you just have to remember that. And, that's unfortunately what a lot of I work with kids every day, and a lot of them don't get that. They want to be famous. They want to be well known and get likes, and it's not going to work out for everybody.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, and now thinking now that you've said it, you're right. I mean, you can choose who you follow and what comes in your feed, and
Right. You can, yeah, you can certainly do that. I don't know how Facebook works now, but on Instagram, you can choose who you follow. You can kind of game the algorithm and, get stuff up there that you like. But if you're on it all day, every day, it's probably not good.
Yeah. Well, dude, this has been great, man. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And I always give the guests the last word. It can be anything. It can be thought on your mind, something you're going to go do sometime soon, a book you read. I saw that you just purchased some books. Those looked interesting. I mean, it can be anything you want to leave us with.
Oh man, that's pretty broad.
Pretty broad.
Pretty broad, huh? Well, yeah, I just did. I got some books. I was just in Breckenridge, Colorado, with my brother. It's pretty cool up there. It's where they filmed Dumb and Dumber, I think.
Great place. I've been there.
Yeah. So I went to a bookstore there. I got an old copy of The Godfather. So I've been wanting to read that. And that's really one of the only fiction books that I have, I think, in my library. Usually read nonfiction like 99% of the time. But the other ones I got one about, what was it called? Think Again.
Yeah, I'd seen that book. I don't know what it's about, but I've seen it advertised.
It's, yeah, it's called Think Again. So it's about like understanding, knowing what you don't know, learning to, and this will be really good for me because I'm like a lot of people, I'm kind of entrenched in some of my views and ways of thinking and whatnot. So it's kind of, telling you and showing you how to like relearn some of your thinking.
Wow, that sounds like a great one.
Yeah, I just got started. I'm not very far into it. And what was the other one? Oh, it was about the makers of OxyContin, Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family and how they're destroying America and whatnot.
That's a nice little mix there, man. That's a nice little mix of some reading material. Yeah, you read quite a bit, don't you? I mean, you read your fair share.
Yeah, I still enjoy to read. And like Tyler said, I'm all physical books, man. I've never had a Kindle. I'll read some articles online, but like I'm not I like actual physical hard copy books, and I have a lot of them. That sounded strange. I have a decent bookshelf, and I'm proud of it. It's,
yeah.
I think it's a good thing to have. It's good to keep reading and continue to try to learn about things even when you don't really have to. So.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. Well, dude, I'm gonna have to check out that Think Again for sure. That sounds definitely up my alley. I gave you the last word, but I'll say one more last word is the Great Influenza book you had told me about, and I'll confess, I didn't finish all the way through it yet, and my dad was looking at it when I was with him when he was out here, and he goes, and my dad reads tons, and he's just like, he loves history, so I just let him borrow it and take it. He just finished it. He loved it. He thought it was fascinating, that book.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't finished it yet either.
But it was fascinating. You told me about that book, and I read it, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is pretty crazy. It's pretty interesting to see the parallels between.
Well, I told you there's a lot of similarities. I mean, people had to wear masks. There was a lot of rules and stuff in terms of public behavior.
Yeah.
There was misinformation. There was outright disinformation. There was a lot of, depending on who owned the newspaper, you were going to get a certain slant. So it was basically almost the same as today. The battle for the public's, attention and, what they knew and didn't know and whatnot. So, yeah, I need to finish it. It gets a little dense.
It's very dense.
And I'll admit I kind of skimmed over some decent chunks of it. just because it's just a lot of technical stuff that I didn't fully get, but I'll finish it at some point.
Absolutely. And for anyone listening to, the book's about the 1920s Spanish flu. It's called The Great Influenza. Really interesting. And KG, this has been awesome, man. You left us with some great stuff, and hopefully see you soon. We're going to go to grab some Korean barbecue very soon.
That's a good thing. We need to hit Korean barbecue.
Chinatown.
We need to hit Spring Mountain Road.
Dude, I drove through Chinatown the last weekend when I was there, and so I got so many more restaurants, so many more. I'm like, oh, okay, this is going to work out just fine. This is going to be good. So.
Yep.
All right, brother. Well, hey, stick around for a sec. I'll stop the recording, but dude, such a pleasure, and man, this was fun.
Yeah, for sure, man. Appreciate it.